Guess where we are?
Yo, 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 we back.
We back in this bitch.
I feel like it's been a minute.
Dude, it's been like 3 weeks.
Hold on, turn this up.
Dropped an episode. Music to my ears. All right, that's enough of that.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
Episode 8.
We back.
Episode 8. Man, it was
Man.
like, I don't know. I guess you can't really tell with, well, I know you can tell whenever you look at an episode published, but.
Well, the videos, yeah, you can tell when it was published. Not like we have a lot of listeners, but I'm sure there was at least one person that was
probably like, no, dude, I got a message on Instagram, so I took a break from social for a second, or for a little bit, and I'll talk about that later on, but I got back into it, and this guy messaged me, and he goes, hey, man, did you guys stop the podcast? Or he's like, I was like anxiously waiting for the next episode to drop. And I was like,
awesome.
Somebody, and I didn't even really know the guy. I was like,
shout out to that guy.
That's cool.
Because we're
that
back.
Guy, #1 fan, that dude.
We coming back stronger, better, faster, lighter, sexier. I mean, just really, lighter.
Did you diet or something?
I dropped weight.
You dropped some pounds?
I don't know how.
You dropped some LBSs?
I changed nothing. Nothing happened. Like literally the other day I woke up and my fiance was like, hey, what, hold on a second. And she was like, you look like less bloated. And then I jumped on the scale and I was like 6 pounds light. I don't get it, dude. My body goes through these weird phases where like I'll just like drop weight in my sleep.
I'm gonna drop a little tidbit about Matt. Nobody probably knows. If Matt cuts out soda and that's it, like soda and energy drinks,
Sugar mainly.
for like 2 weeks. No, dude, I'm not even gonna say sugar. Like your diet food wise could stay the exact same, which probably consists of more sugar than you should have. But either way, soda, energy drinks, you'll lose like 20 pounds. You've done it like
in
5 times.
Yeah, in like 2 weeks, dude. It's crazy.
The funniest thing ever.
For people listening that don't
2
know
weeks,
me,
that's all it is.
really it's just energy drinks. I honestly don't really drink a whole lot of soda at all.
It used to be, but not.
It used to be, but I really don't do it that much. It's honestly, it's alcohol and energy drinks are like the two things, which I feel like is like the most common funny thing that people joke about in sales. Like it's 8 a.m. I'm 500 milligrams of nicotine deep, 16 energy drinks. I'm ready to go. Like I feel like that's like the sales thing, right? But anyways, man, what we really wanted to talk about, we were just talking about it as we were actually walking into the studio, and I think that what we're gonna really drop some knowledge on, because man, I got some knowledge that's just cooking. And it's going to be about problems, man.
Or lack thereof.
Just
like the perception of problems.
Yeah.
And I think we'll title this How to Handle Your, in quotes, problems. Right?
Yeah, I like that.
Like, is it a problem? How are you perceiving it? What's your perception look like? Why do you think it's a problem, etc.? But before we go into problems, because we have a lot to talk about with that, I want to say quickly, I took 8 days off of social media this past week.
How was that?
Dude, it was so dope.
Really? So like you just didn't open any apps, or like you didn't post, or
no, dude, so what we did.
Deleted?
So shout out to our first guest ever, Blake Roberts with Blake Robert Compass Homes.
Big shout out.
I met him for we got like a drink or something after work like a couple weeks back. And I walked up to where he was sitting and he's reading a book. And I was like, oh, cool, what book is that? Whatever. He's telling me about it. And he's like, dude, you know why I'm reading a book right now? I was like, why? He goes, because I took a break from social media. He's like, I can't. Damn! He goes, I can't get on Instagram or Facebook, so I'm reading this book. And I was like, no, wait, really? He's like, dude, this is like the best thing I've done this year, like taking a break from social media. And I said, man, that's really cool. I want to give that a shot. We chatted about, whatever it was doing for him, and that was cool. So I went back home and I told Jen, right, my wife, and I was like, yeah, I want to try to do that. And she looked at me like, like, are you sure?
What are you gonna do during your free time?
Yeah. So it's funny. So we were starting to think about, of course, we talked about in a previous episode about planning and this, and right, making sure everything's straightened out and in the calendar. So we're like really going over a calendar, like, all right, what's coming up? When can we just do like a solid of 7-8 days, like a full week of no social. So we came together, we figured out, we had a trip out in South Carolina a little bit ago. We went to a family member's wedding out there. So we were there for like several days. And so we decided like the last day we were there, which was a Sunday.
Every time,
which was a Sunday. We said, all right, from that Sunday to the following Sunday, we'll do no social.
Yeah.
And so we did that. And you know what's really bad, and I'm going to come clean on this show, is that the first thought after we put those dates together, I had a trip for work planned in that same week. Bro, my first thought was, damn, no one's going to know I'm here. Like on this trip.
No one's gonna know I'm staying at these dope places.
Like
They're eating the sick food.
The city that I was in, like I mean, it wasn't even a long trip, bro. I was gone for like a day and a half. It was a quick like in and out deal. But that was my first thought, bro. Like it was like, oh, no one's gonna know I'm, in this town, in this city. No one's gonna know I took a flight over here to go do this. No one's gonna know what I'm doing. But dude, why do I need them to know that? You know what I mean? Like it was so weird. So when I first thought that, I was like, all right, now that really means we got to make sure we do this.
Real G's move in silence like lasagna.
I know it. I know it. So long story short, it was like the most peaceful, liberating. I mean, I was not on my phone as much. Like I'm still on my phone pretty often just for communication for like work purposes, right? And then obviously, family and things like that. But there was no just like dull scrolling. Yeah. Like, and honestly, leading up to this week, I have been intentionally like kept my phone away from me. Like once it's like past 7 p.m., I'll like leave my phone on the counter and not just like right next to me on the couch, or if I'm at the table or whatever. Or if I'm next to my bed, I try not to like have it literally just like on my lap. Yeah. And then at a certain time it goes into like do not disturb mode. So I try to not just be on it because I want to be more present. So that was good. So that did help for during this week. It wasn't like a cold turkey quitting situation. Excuse me, but not having any of the socials was nuts, dude. And you know what's really funny? It's not easy to go deactivate all your shit. Yeah. They make that shit hard. Like we had to Google how to deactivate Facebook. There's no just button like right in front of your face, like, hey, deactivate, because they don't want you to. Yeah. I mean, that's where they make their money, all these ads and whatnot. So anyways, we figured it out though. Facebook's really cute. They give you this automatic, like, when would you like to reactivate? Automatically reactivate in 7 days. Or,
to be completely honest, I didn't even know that you were off social media. That's just rarely
mean.
I'm on it, like more so like TikTok, and like I'll get on Instagram for max 6 minutes in a day. Yeah. Like I'll just scroll through it real quick. And, all right, next, and I'll go on TikTok for probably like an hour, 2 hours total in a day.
I have to prepare myself if I don't have that time. Yeah. Then I know I literally cannot open TikTok because I will be on it, like you said, for that hour. But I'm glad you mentioned that you didn't even notice, because this is funny. What the other thing I realized, I don't care how popular you are or aren't. Mm-hmm. Not everyone really gives a shit if you're on social media or not. Yeah. Like I think, and I'm being honest, I think I had 3 people ask me if I deleted in the whole week though. Yeah. And not even the people that I would think, like you, and then like Andre, my business partner, right? He didn't even realize until Friday. Yeah. I had no idea. And he's on social media a lot, which shout out to Andre. He actually decided today to take a break. He just posted, he told me about that. He's like, hey, I decided to do it too. So we got a little trend going on. Nice. I like that. But yeah, dude, like 3 people, they just said, oh, did you delete your social or whatever? And I was like, oh no, taking a break. Three people out of, however many people are on my social, like
several thousand followers.
Just only 3 people. I mean, not saying no one cared, but like that should tell you like, yo, you don't have to be on Instagram. You don't need to post all this stuff. Like no one really, honestly, truly cares. It's just kind of like, hey, cool, you post. So anyways, I just want to take a couple seconds and share that because I think it's really cool. I challenge the listener to do the same. Like even if it's not a week or if it's hard for you, like just do like 2 days. But yeah, I had to delete the app. Like I deactivated it and then I had to like take it out of the phone because if it was there, I was probably gonna. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Eventually, you'd be like, well, I have to do this for work. I gotta check on this person or whatever. Right.
Yeah. And there were several bathroom trips that I just sat there and was like, oh, what do I do now?
I don't even think about that. Like when I'm like in the restroom, I'd be like, well, what do I do with my phone? Like put it away.
What do I do with my hands?
That's awesome. But that kind of
start us out. Let's talk about some problems.
That kind of segues into a problem because when deleting social media or taking a break from social media, some people would view that as a problem. But really, you got a great solution out of it because you had that relaxation, you had that time away where you're like, wow, this is almost like clarity, right? Where
dude.
I'm not so focused on these little things.
It was peaceful. So, I'm just going to attach the word peace to it. It's peaceful.
There you go. So that kind of segues into what we really wanted to talk about, which is problems. And this is going to be really good because I am going through this exact situation right now. And just like we were talking about when we were out of the car and you were like, oh man, you forgot to bring me something. I was like, dude, so much has happened in the last hour and a half. So I've been really processing it, trying to figure out how I really want to go about the situation that I'm in. And just for quick clarity, basically what the situation is, or the problem is that the company that I was currently working for, completely in love with this company, right? Head over heels, mentioned it several times on the podcast, like just insane, right? And we literally talked about this in the first episode. Like I'm really good at job hopping, right? I'm really good at using my leverage in order to gain success much faster than the traditional career route.
Right.
And I quit doing that in this job. I mean, like my LinkedIn had gotten hacked. I didn't even rebuild it. Like I just left it because I was like, this is it.
You were happy.
Right. Yeah. I had no way to look anything else. So in the time span of like a month, last month, basically everything changed. The entire script flipped. And it was probably one of the best things that could have ever happened to me in my career and in business and in sales or whatever, because it showed so many flaws that I have in life and things that I wasn't doing correctly and I didn't properly set up, right? So like a lot of people always talk about, you know, whenever you lose a job or whatever, you need to have, 6 months of everything set aside. I had that. But at the same time, what you don't account for, or what I didn't personally account for, is I did the classic American thing, right? As your income increases, so does your bills, right? Made a little bit more money, I'm gonna go get a nicer car. And I did the nicer this, and we took trips and we did dinners and all these other things, where it gets to a point where that 6 months, because of my income shift and because my expenses increased, was really like 3 months, right? And that's 3 months just bills. That's not living. So there's several things that I thought I was properly set up for, but when it came down to it, I'm like, oh shit, this is a fucking big problem here. Like I was not prepared for the situation or the problem that came at hand.
But go back to like, I want, cause I know this stuff, but I want people to hear like, obviously that was kind of like the after, right? Of like what was going on with leaving this company, but talk about like why, cause you weren't fired or anything. Like no one was like telling you we're firing you. Matt didn't get fired. Let's make that clear.
Yeah.
But what things, like you said, the script flipped, right? So like what flipped that really it kind of just posed this question to you, like, are you going to stay and keep going with this, or are you going to, hold your ground and stick to your values in this, and then decide to bow out? But like, what were those things? And then like, why do you feel like you were able to stick to the reasons why you decided to leave? Because not everybody would have done that, and not everybody did. Like I know of other people that didn't, that are in the company that that we both know want to, or say they want to, and they're just like, nah, I don't know, whatever.
Too scared. Yeah,
there's people like that all day long. So what were those for you?
So the biggest thing that happened, it was kind of the turning point, and for any salesperson that's in any type of sales role, they should probably know this, and if you don't, you'll learn really quickly. Anytime a company changes a commission structure when there was really no problems with it, right? That's a large red flag. Typically, companies don't go years with a certain commission structure and then change it unless it was bad for the employee, right? Like if the employees were not making any type of money in commissions, then they would sometimes adjust it to make it easier. Yeah. But if everything's working fine, everybody's getting paid, and all of a sudden they try to propose this new commission structure, that's a red flag. It typically only happens for a number of reasons. One, the company is shelling out so much cash that they can't back it up. So they're like, we have to change this and spread this cash out. Otherwise, we're going to be in some trouble, right? Which is not necessarily, in quote, a bad thing, but for the employee, it can be. But that's one of the biggest reasons, and that's probably what exactly happened. So the first thing that was kind of, opening a coffin in a sense, is that they changed the commission structure. So overnight, the ability to make money went from really easy to good to bad real fast. And the other important thing too is that, and I'm not going to name names or anything like that, even though this company, me royally, just you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to be that podcast.
I'm not going to be that
you're
podcast.
You're not happy about it, but we can talk around it. Yeah.
But basically, so they changed the commission structure. The final nail in the coffin was this company's been 100% remote since the beginning of time, since like 2015 when they established, right? All of a sudden, randomly one day they go, hey, we're not remote no more. Completely in office, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you don't like it, get the hell out. There's the door. Just overnight, right? So, and for me, I'm an hour and a half on a good day away from the office. And as I've mentioned on the podcast, I will never go back into an office unless I own the damn building. That's me. Maybe some people call it crazy, but just like you were saying, that was a belief that I stuck to because I know what I can do, and I just work better remote. I don't want somebody over my shoulder. Not like I don't do my job. I excel at my job very well. Got numbers to prove it, right? So, right. That was really the final nail in the coffin. And really, if you look at it from, because I can kind of have both standpoints, right? I've been around business owners and I've been employee, the same time too. So I can kind of view it in their sense. And what was really happening was they decided to make the shift to in-office because they thought that this was going to help profits. So instead of having to fire people and pay out severance, the best option would be to force everybody to basically quit so they can rehire a cheaper staff to continue to build profits.
And I don't think that was like, that wasn't realized in the beginning, right?
No.
So I know me and you had conversations about it, and I know we both kind of like came to this like understanding, and then you spoke with one of your other colleagues at the time too. And I'm sitting there like, dude, they don't want you to stay in the job, bro.
No.
I'm like, they don't want to fire you because they kept talking about all these severance packages that were, you know, available and all that. So I mean, obviously that cost them a lot of money. So they don't want to fire you. They want to totally, like you said, flip the script, and then you back out on your own, which eventually is what you did do. So that way they can go hire the other person that never worked remote. And even if someone's used to working remote, they'd be like, no, sorry, you're not a good fit. We need someone that's in the office. And they're just totally changing the way that they want to operate, which that's why when we were talking about it, I'm like, dude, from an ownership standpoint, like if that's what they have to do to survive, like, okay, it's just the way that it was executed was just kind of like a really shitty way of executing that.
Real bad.
Right. So, I mean, and I know you have feelings towards it, and I do too. I share those with you, but it's like, if you're someone that understands, you know, what your company's doing, or if you are the company, you own the business, whatever, you can do a lot of different things to make sure your business can stay afloat. Sure. But the way you are laying out these terms or making changes, the way you're executing all these things, that's where like the good or the bad boss lies. Yeah. Right. Like, do I have a good boss or a bad boss? And then it's like, well, how did they share this information with you? You know, that they shove it down your throat, or do they, you know, put in front of you with a 5-course meal, right? Yeah. And they shoved it down your throat.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, there was no subtle walking into this. And if anybody's ever in a similar position to this, you'll know if they're really trying to get rid of you, if there's no like help in the situation. So like, hey, we understand this is a big situation. We're going to, you know, pay for relocation fees, or, you know, we'll help with gas or whatever, just something to where you feel like they really want you. If a company's,
they want to keep you.
They want to keep you, right?
Hey, this really sucks. We've got to do this, but we really don't want you to leave.
We're going to do this as nothing, dude. Yeah. Hey, this is what it is. And so in reality, and the thing that I stuck with is that, one, I always said I'll never be back in office. I haven't been in office in 5 years, and I'm not going to do it again. So that was one thing where it was a big problem, because you got to think overnight, no income, right? Nothing. Just all of a sudden, wasn't planned. It happened. Because I ended up having to walk away because I quit. Right. Yeah. I walked away from it. And so I remember the first couple hours after, it was like not a panic attack, but it was just definitely like thinking that, like, shit, I got to replace this and I got to do it fast. Right.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you. Hold on. Did you shave your arms?
Yeah.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, I always do.
You shave your arms on the regular?
Yeah. I don't like hairy arms.
It's not because you just got that tattoo?
No, I don't like hairy arms. Yeah. Super random. I always have. I don't like hairy arms.
Sorry, guys. I'm just looking at Matthew's arm. I didn't know you shaved your arms. All right.
Okay. Continue. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
Super random.
That was going to bug me for the rest of this episode.
So anyways.
Go ahead.
So I ended up having to leave the company. And so that first couple hours after, there's definitely a lot of thinking that goes on, right? And the average person is going to go into a panic mode. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to come. I don't have anything on the, you know, usually whenever I'm in a job position, I've got 5-10 backups ready where I can just, if something happens the next day, I'm golden. I didn't have that because I was so in love with the position that I was in. I was in love with the company, and I just enjoyed it. There's a lesson there, right? You always have some type of backup plan or backup strategy, because
just realizing that where you're at might not be the end all be all.
You're an employee. No matter how good you are an employee. And especially in the state of Texas, being an at-will state, at any point in time for anything, it can be over.
As a business owner, hallelujah.
Yeah, as a business owner, hallelujah. As an employee,
thank the Lord.
Prepare yourself, right? So, and that's the thing. So shortly after this conversation, having conversations with my fiance, having conversations with my family and close friends like Sage, it was one of those things where I had to get back to my classic mentality of going, okay, there's two ways I can look at this. I can look at this as a downfall and that I'm fucked and this is going to suck and blah, blah, blah. And oh my God, sell everything and go into straight panic mode. Or I could go, okay, I've been in this exact situation many times and I'm damn good at getting out of the situation. If there's one thing that somebody will put on my tombstone, is it'll say Matthew Edland, in quotations, he figured it out. Because I do. Every time I figure it out, no matter what. So back, or let's say fast forward. So that was on the 18th, right? By the 21st, I had a verbal offer for double what I was making. 3 days. Took me 3 days.
With a shitty LinkedIn profile.
With a shitty LinkedIn profile that was brand new because I had to rebuild it from scratch.
Because I don't know where anyone that's listening, I don't know where you guys go for jobs or anything. And it's funny, I actually
better be LinkedIn.
I haven't applied for a job since
a long time ago.
2000. It's the year Jaden was born. 2017. It's the last time I applied for a job. And I think that was just like on a website. You clicked on it. I don't even know if I don't know. Anyways, I don't use LinkedIn. Maybe other people do. I'm sure a lot. I mean, I know a lot of people do. I have LinkedIn because I need it for other purposes, but I've never had to do it to make myself look good to go apply for a job because I just haven't had to go that route yet. But like for you, that's what was like your bread and butter when you got this job, and then LinkedIn was shit. And then and like you said earlier, you did not go like revive your LinkedIn because you didn't need to. You had this great job, and then all of a sudden, boom, I need to. And then did you mess with the LinkedIn? You like tweaked it a little bit, right? Okay, you did some stuff.
So I went and rebuilt it.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. And that's the thing. Having a good LinkedIn profile, having everything, actually mapped out, your work history, what you do, your bio, all these things like that most people tell you that's not important. On LinkedIn, it definitely is important because that's like literally, if you're a recruiter, you understand LinkedIn is your bread and butter. That's where you find everything. So, and that's where the most jobs, especially if you want to get in the tech space, LinkedIn is where you go. It's just where it is. So it took me a day to build a LinkedIn profile. I applied to like 10 jobs on the second day, and on the third day I had an interview.
Yeah, like you're a mass applier.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the other trick too. Like mass apply.
Like a serial applier.
Yeah, like you need to, if you're in the job market, you got to be doing
please don't
30.
apply to one job.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest
minimum
shit
of 30 a day.
I've heard people be like, yeah, I applied to this job. I really need a job. I'm like, well, how many others did you apply? No, I really want this one. I'm like, cool. They're probably not going to hire you. So go apply to like 7 more. Like, I don't understand.
It's all about the mass applying.
Apply to one job. Unless that one job like is seeking you and you're at a current job.
Yeah, if they like seek you out,
we need you to apply because it's like the track we've got to go along, blah, 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 then fine. If you like your current job and they're seeking you out, you got a headhunter looking for you, like that's great. You don't need to go because you're not actively looking, great. But if you're looking for a job, especially if you don't have a job, like you don't even have
any all income, the time in the world.
You got all the time. We're like, bro, go apply for some more damn jobs. You do not need to find one and stick to it. All right, keep going. I'm sorry.
For sure. But and so the third day I had the first conversation, and that night at like 9 o'clock, I get another call saying, hey, so they liked you so much they canceled out every other, and this is a very, very large multi-billion-dollar, they had like 900 applicants.
This is what I like. They did business in the UK.
Yeah.
They're global.
Yeah, they're a massive, massive company. Same thing, not going to say any names, but, and after the first conversation, I got a call at like 9 o'clock at night, and they said, hey, basically the director saw everything, watched because it was recorded conversation. They said after hearing the recorded conversation, they canceled out everything. They're going to go with you and give you verbal right now.
Sweet.
So, you know what I mean? Most people will look at that as a problem, and I did in the beginning, but then I had to shift mindset very quickly and just say, okay, look, there's always going to be a solution because there always is. No matter what the problem is, there is always a solution, period. There's no debating. Nobody can argue that, right?
Yeah.
So I chose to look at a solution and go, okay, I've got 2 options. I can either cry about this and sit in a corner and then, whatever, or take a month off. And like I said, I wasn't stupid. I had backup plans, right? So didn't have backup plans, but I had my finances set up correctly to where I'm not in a bind. I'm not crying. My bills are paid. Nothing's wrong, whatever. Mm-hmm. So most people could go, well, I'm going to focus on me and I'm going to do this. No, dude. I got right back out there. It took me 3 days. I doubled what I was doing, right? Yeah. That fast. So it may not be that fast always, but at the same time, I'm firmly believing that the reason that it was like that is because 1 of my track record, but 2 of my confidence. And just like what we talked about in like the second episode about when you're doing these interviews, confidence is the key, right?
Right.
It's not a matter of, I know that I can sell whatever your product or service is. That's easy. Anybody can sell any product or service if you studied enough and you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is that the reason why I feel like I got that offer so fast and why the director liked me so much was my confidence in the interview, right? I asked the right questions. I said the right things.
Yeah.
And I showed that I was a confident person, right? That's a big thing in sales. And just like that, overnight replaced, right?
So you took a problem and you turned it into like perseverance. I love
exactly.
That. But what I wanted to like really hone in on is that that the fact of problems, like they're in all aspects of our lives, right? So like this was your most recent, dire problem, right? You saw it as I like to, I'm using the word problem because I think a lot of people think of it as a problem, but it's more of just like a little issue. Like, how do you take the issue? How are you going to fix the issue? Right? Like if you're 5-year-old, you know, let me change this because this happened recently. If your 2-year-old, like, you know, poops and then like picks up the poop or, you know, does something gross, you know what I mean? Like you could look, be like, oh, that's a problem. Like I got to go clean. But depending on, and in the moment, you're probably definitely going to think that, like for sure. You know, after the fact, you might use it as if you're, you know, it depends on the age of your kid. You could use it as like a learning something, right? This is why we don't do that. Or, you know, the last time something like this happened, I turned it into a game. I straight up did. Like my 5-year-old, my 2-year-old, I'm not going to go into the details on it, but like, you know, we didn't play with poop. No, I'm going to say that. But I'm just saying like the funniness of it, like I turned it in because I was frustrated. And so I turned it into like, okay, this is annoying, but when we got to clean up and we turned the cleanup part into a game, like we just did. So that was cool. So I just changed the whole, and that changed my attitude first off. That was the biggest thing. You know, if you have an employee, you know, that's posing a problem to you, like this is like a problem child employee, like this guy has this or that, and the other thing. And then maybe you can take that problem, you can turn it into like, I mean, I know I've actually been the butt of this when I, you know, back in the time when I was an employee, like, a problem you're posing can maybe turn into a solution for the entire team. Like not that specific problem, but the way that we're working out that problem. Like, all right, look, Sage had this problem. Let's all talk about why this was a problem, what we can do later to make this better. You know, so you can look at it every which way. I mean, someone might be going through a divorce and they look at that as like a problem, right? Maybe it wasn't their idea to get divorced or whatever that situation looked like for them. But then on the other side of that, it could have been the best thing that ever happened to them. I don't know. Like in the past, right? I've been fired. 1, 2. Oh my God, I've been fired kind of a lot. I've been pushed out once, fired twice, 3 times. Yeah, I think. So that company that pushed me out when I was like 17 years old, they probably wanted to fire me, but they didn't. They pushed me out. They like took away all my hours. They started giving me like 4 hours a week when I was like 17.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I'm like, how do you work at 4 hours? And they're like, well, maybe you should quit. I was like, fuck you. I am gonna quit. Yeah. Anyway, so I've been fired, right? But what's funny is every instance that's happened where I went
led
next,
to a better opportunity.
Oh my God, a better opportunity. Like, and I know me too, because I don't get just complacent, but I do start enjoying. I enjoy the people I'm working with or whatever. Like I knew in those times in my life when I was a lot younger too. This is like 7+ years ago, 10 years ago. So I knew myself back then. Like I was just enjoying my time. The people I was working with was great. I'm like a happy, fun person. Like I'm having a good time. I had no reason to like be like, oh, I'm out. Like, you know what I mean? Or I have a better opportunity over there. I wasn't looking for it. Yeah. And so, you know, it forced me to look for better opportunity, just like you mentioned, right? 3 days in, verbal offer, double your income. Freaking awesome stuff, right? Yeah. So like in the past, like, you know, you can see being fired or being, you know, whatever as a problem. And then it depends on how you're going to look at the situation after your immediate, like you're not wrong. You're not wrong for having an immediate feeling on something, right?
There's always going to be knee-jerk reactions.
Yeah, knee-jerk reactions are fine. It's just what you do, excuse me, it's just what you do thereafter. Like, you know, and literally like a day, like don't just wallow in self-pity for like freaking 2 weeks. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like take a day and be like, damn, this sucks. And then like compose yourself and figure out what you're going to do next. And the way that you handle it at that point is going to show like your character and what you're going to be able to do moving forward. So back to what I'm saying, like when I literally each of those instances, now that I'm thinking back, each time I was let go from the positions I was in, the next position was that much better. Like, and I also had a track of making more money every single year. So every single time, if I did get fired, like the next place I ended up going to or doing or whatever, I did make more money with that new company or that new industry or whatever it was. And that's just because I had to look at the situation. Back then, I probably wasn't even thinking about it the way that I think about it now, but I'm glad that I was able to react that way because, it sucks. And I remember this one company that fired me, my boss, well, you know, old boss, right, at that time, was like, you're going to be fine. Like, you know, we're letting you go. This is why. But, like, I know you're going to be fine. Like, just trust you. You're going to be cool. Like, you're good. And I'm sitting and looking at this person. I'm like, you, dude, like, what do you mean?
You don't know that.
Like, you're the one freaking firing me. Like, you can change your mind, you know, like, you know what I mean? And lo and behold, I was fine. And that job turned into, you know, it was a great job. And that was cool. And the next place I went to, and I did make more money than I was making in the previous place. So I think that a lot of people take that and they sometimes only apply it to like a specific avenue in their life. Like you've been talking a lot about the job thing, but you can apply it literally anywhere.
Everywhere.
Your relationships, obviously the job market, you can apply it to, I mean, investing, like the way you manage your finances. Like, okay, I messed this up. I was actually in church a couple days ago, right? And the pastor said this. He said, he said, a lot of people think, excuse me, a lot of people think that if they do something wrong and God, like something bad happens with their finances, it's like God punishing them. And they're like, thank you for punishing me. I felt bad. Like I needed to be punished. And he goes like this. He said, if you have $500 and left until your next paycheck and you go buy something for $400 and then a bill you forgot about came out and you didn't have enough money to cover it, he goes, that's not God punishing you. He goes, that's just you not doing math. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so someone can see that as a problem. That's like, dude, a financial problem. Like, okay, let's like make that a problem one time and then learn from that. And then you can see it as a lesson, like turn the problem to a quick lesson. Don't make it a reoccurring problem. And then you can be super successful after that. Like how are anybody in today's world successful? Like we can go all the way back to Einstein. He had, 2,000 ways how not to learn or not to make a light bulb. You know, he had 2,000 problems, but now we know all the ways not to do a light bulb. And then he made it the way he had to make it. I mean, it gets really simple if you just start bringing it down to just a simple space. I think people just overcomplicate it and don't apply it in every area of their life when they should.
No, for sure. To every problem, there's always going to be a solution, period. Like I said, there's no debating it. And really what it is it's just, you just have to sit down and really figure out the best solution for you, because whatever I did may not be the best solution for somebody else, right? Somebody else may needed to take 2 weeks off to regroup and get their mental straight before they decided to go out. And that's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with that if you want to take that type of time, if this situation ever happens to you. But at the same time, it's more so understanding the best situation that can basically the best way that you can benefit from the situation, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't look at this as like, oh, this sucks, I was forced to quit, blah blah blah, my gosh, like my friends, like blah blah blah, whatever. I looked at this and I had to go back and go, okay, every time that I've been put in a situation like that, it always comes out better.
Yeah.
Right? 3 days. That's all it took, right? It wasn't the end of the world.
Do you remember when you worked at Pizza Hut?
Easy. Oh my God, dude! For one day I worked at Pizza Hut. Never lived this down.
24 hours.
24 hours.
But what was your? Did you learn from that problem? What was the
oh
next
my God!
job?
Yeah, I learned from that problem. Don't ever work at Pizza Hut.
I don't even think
be better than the Hut.
I don't even think you got a job after that. You were like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm good. That was in high school though.
That was a high school job.
You were like.
But I don't like if you think about it,
sucks. And you were like, I'm good. I'm not going to get a job. I'm
that
fine.
led me to sales after Pizza Hut. Yeah, after Pizza Hut, I think my next job was sales, and then I never looked back and was in sales ever since then.
You could have sold the fuck out of some pizza, man.
Dude, I know. Well, I wasn't even. Dude, I was a dishwasher.
Did you get fired?
Yeah.
You got fired from being a dishwasher,
I
bro?
got fired from being a dishwasher, dude.
What?
Yeah. Well, that was a stupid situation. No, exactly.
You did?
Yeah, but I didn't know I was supposed to work. So, dude,
whatever. We're not gonna
weird
go into that.
situation. But yeah, no, that was 100% not my fault. Name was not on the schedule outside of the manager's schedule that she did not post. Yeah, no, I remember that situation
like in the old
very
days
vividly.
We didn't have all the cool scheduling technology.
Yeah, no,
So
that was like
blame it
paper on a board, and
You probably can't get away with that shit these days. I mean, I guess you couldn't then either because they fired you.
No, they got way too many systems in place. Trust me, I'll be the
systems
one
in place.
selling the systems to your HR department. So believe me.
I love that.
But no, I think this was a great episode, man. I've been excited. We're back on track. Sorry we took a break. We were both sick randomly, and then life happened, and then this happened. So, hey, man, we had to take a step back to take a giant leap forward.
I feel like we hadn't had our like little just jiving sessions by ourselves in a minute either, because the last 2 episodes were both guests.
Yeah.
So this is good.
This
is cool.
We still got more guests on the way. Don't even worry about that. We still got a fire lineup coming.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got some
about to be popping.
I like talking to fun people. So thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Don't forget, like, share, subscribe.
We don't make no money. We help us. Anyways, we'll catch y'all in the next one. Appreciate y'all tuning in and listening in, and keep coming back because we got more fire coming.
Peace.